A wealthy CEO millionaire moved through the snow-covered streets of New York, his thoughts wrapped tightly around boardroom deals and deadlines. The city's hum echoed faintly through the frostbitten air as snowflakes drifted past the glow of street lamps. But just as he adjusted his coat against the cold, his steps slowed, then stopped. There, beneath the faint halo of a distant streetlight, stood a small figure bundled in a thin coat. Snow clung to her blonde curls as she clutched a worn, stuffed rabbit against her chest. Her blue eyes, wide with both fear and hope, locked onto his. In that moment, the world seemed to fall away. He didn't know her name. He didn't know her story. But something deep within his chest whispered that this night, this encounter, was about to change everything. Hello, dear viewer. Thank you for joining us. If this heartwarming story captures your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another inspirational tale of love, family, and unexpected connections. And let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. Now let's dive into the unforgettable journey of a man who thought he had everything, until a freezing little girl showed him what he was missing. Snow fell in thick, silent waves, blanketing the streets of New York City in a pale shimmer beneath the amber glow of streetlights. The distant hum of traffic echoed through the night, but here, on a quiet stretch of Riverside Drive, the world seemed suspended in a breathless hush. Logan Carter adjusted the collar of his tailored coat as he stepped out of his sleek black car, his breath curling in the air like faint wisps of smoke. The crisp air bit at his cheeks, but he barely noticed. The charity gala at the Metropolitan had dragged on longer than expected, leaving him restless and eager to return to the solitude of his penthouse overlooking Central Park. Success, wealth, influence. Logan had it all, at least on paper. Yet, as he walked toward the building's grand entrance, a familiar hollowness tugged at the edges of his chest. It was a feeling he had grown adept at ignoring. The faint crunch of snow beneath his polished shoes echoed with each step, until another sound cut through the stillness, soft, hesitant, almost too faint to hear. Logan paused, his gaze sweeping. Across the snow-covered sidewalk, a small figure stood near the iron gate. Logan's steps slowed, hesitation tightening his chest. He had learned long ago that getting involved often led to complications, but something in the child's wide, tearful eyes gripped him, stirring a buried sorrow within his chest. At first, the child seemed almost like part of the landscape, bundled in a thin pink coat dusted with snow, her breath visible in the freezing air. Her blonde curls peeked from beneath a woolen hat, framing a face that even from a distance conveyed both innocence and fear. Logan's first instinct was to look away. This was New York. Strangers passed each other every day, their worlds colliding, only briefly before moving on, but something about the girl's wide eyes shining with unshed tears anchored him in place. Hey, he took a cautious step forward. Are you lost? The girl didn't respond immediately. Her gloved hands clutched a small, stuffed rabbit, its worn ears drooping as if weary from too many hugs. Snowflakes clung to her lashes as she gazed up at him, her blue eyes luminous against the pale flush of her cheeks. Logan knelt beside her, his heart tightening in a way he hadn't felt in years. Where's your mom, sweetheart? I don't know. Her voice was a whisper, trembling as much from fear as from the cold. I was trying to find her, but the snow got too heavy. I couldn't see. Logan's gaze swept the empty street, searching for any sign of a frantic parent. Nothing. only the muted hush of falling snow and the distant hum of traffic beyond the park's edge. "Come on," he said, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. "Let's get you somewhere warm. We'll find your mom, okay?" The girl hesitated, her small frame trembling beneath the thin coat. For a moment, Logan feared she might bolt, but then she nodded, trusting this stranger in the darkness. Lifting her into his arms, Logan was struck by how light she was, far too light for a child her age. The scent of vanilla and faint lavender clung to her coat, mixed with the sharp bite of winter air. As he carried her toward his car, her small fingers clung to the lapel of his coat, as if anchoring herself to the warmth he offered. Once inside, the heated interior of the car, Logan turned the vents toward her, watching as the color slowly returned to her cheeks. "What's your name?" he asked, keeping his voice soft. "Lily," she murmured, her gaze fixed on the snowflakes melting against the windshield. "That's a pretty name," he said, surprising himself with the warmth in his tone. It had been so long since he'd spoken to anyone like this, without pretense, without the weight of expectations. Lily shifted, her stuffed rabbit still clutched tightly in her arms. "Mr. Rabbit's scared of the dark," she whispered. "Don't worry, Mr. Rabbit," Logan replied, the corners of his mouth lifting in a faint smile. "We'll get you both home soon." But as he glanced at the dashboard clock, a flicker of doubt stirred in his chest. It was nearly midnight, and the snowstorm showed no signs of easing. Finding Lily's mother tonight would be difficult, if not impossible. Still, Logan drove slowly through the nearby streets, scanning for anyone who might be searching for a lost child. The city seemed eerily deserted, as if the storm had driven everyone indoors, leaving only the faint glow of distant lights behind frost-covered windows. By the time they reached the nearest police station, Lily had fallen asleep, her head resting against Logan's shoulder as he carried her inside. The warmth of the station's fluorescent lights seemed harsh after the soft hush of snow, and Logan shifted uncomfortably beneath the curious gazes of the officers behind the front desk. "She got lost in the snow," he explained, careful to keep his voice steady. "I found her near Riverside Drive. No sign of her mother." The officer nodded, taking down details while another approached, with a warm blanket to drape over Lily's shoulders. Logan hesitated, unsure why the thought of leaving her here felt so wrong. "Sir, if you could leave your contact information, she can't stay here overnight, can she?" The question escaped before Logan could stop himself. The officer glanced at the sleeping child, then back at Logan. "Under normal circumstances, we'd contact social services. But with the storm," he sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "Honestly, we're stretched thin tonight. If you're willing to take her home until we locate her mother, it might be the best option." "We'll send someone to follow up as soon as we can." Logan hesitated. His penthouse wasn't exactly designed for children, sleek, minimalist, and devoid of the warmth that defined a home. Still, the thought of leaving Lily in a cold, unfamiliar building seemed unthinkable. "All right," he said finally. "I'll take her home." The elevator hummed softly as it ascended to the top floor of Logan's building, the city lights sprawling beneath them like a sea of distant stars. Lily stirred as the elevator doors slid open, rubbing her eyes with a sleepy murmur. "Where are we?" she asked, her voice small against the vast silence of the penthouse. "My home," Logan replied, carrying her into the spacious living room where floor-to-ceiling windows offered a breathtaking view of Central Park draped in white. Lily blinked at the room's modern elegance, polished marble floors, minimalist furniture, and walls adorned with abstract art. Yet for all its beauty, the space felt cold, as if untouched by the warmth of human presence. Do you live here all alone?